What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Drive for Show DFS for Dough here on Rotogrinders. We're at a new time, a new place. We're on Monday evenings now. We're going to go ahead and move the show to Mondays now. Get you that golf content as early as possible, ready to go for the new week. So that's why we're moving this to Mondays. And then for the bigger tournaments, we're going to do maybe a Twitter Spaces, something like that on Wednesdays with some updates and some additional discussion. So space that out a little bit and do it on Mondays and Wednesdays and see how that goes. So we're here with you on Monday evening. For those of you who are watching live, we appreciate that. I am Justin Van Zuiden, aka STL Cardinals 84, and hopefully we'll power through here for the next 45 minutes or so. I'm on the back side of a cold, so we're feeling a little better today, but voice still sounds a little shaky at times, but that's okay. We'll get through it. We've got golf to talk about. That always makes things a little more exciting. And I've got Notorious, Derek Farnsworth, alongside me as usual. Noto, what's going on?
Man, I'm on the mend too. Got COVID last week, so
No.
yeah, that was a rough couple of days, but feeling better. Pretty much just down to a cough. So it sounds like we're trending upward.
Trending in the right direction. I've got to get a tooth pulled tomorrow too, so it's just been a fun few days. But yeah, I didn't know that you had COVID, so glad you're feeling better, and hopefully no side effects last too long for you there. So did you lose the taste and smell, or what? Just cough or what?
I wasn't feeling great, so I Googled, the symptoms, and I had the top 8 of them. So then I decided to get tested, and then sure enough, but yeah, still had my sense of smell and taste, luckily, so I could eat food. But yeah, it was a rough couple of days. I wasn't expecting that for sure.
Well, glad you're on the mend, and we'll see if we can pick some golf winners as well. Everybody is a genius last week talking about John Rahm as the top play. It was just we can all the touts, we can pat ourselves on the back and tell ourselves good job. So basically a wire to wire win there for John Rahm last week. No real surprise. There was some overlay in the contest on DraftKings, so I was scrambling to throw in a few extra entries at the last minute. Had a few Rahm and Finau lineups, but all of those had either 4 or 5 or 6. So didn't have a Rahm Finau lineup with a 6 of 6. And therefore, with Rahm being so highly owned, didn't have anything at the top of the leaderboard. But how was your week there, Derek?
Yeah, no surprises to see Rahm win, like we talked about. I mean, there's not much you can do. He ended up being even higher owned than any of us thought. I think he was 46% in the big $20 GPP. Ended up being a good week for me. My main lineup cashed. Had some good showdown results as well. But yeah, man, another guy missed the cut on Friday with the 6-footer. I got to get those out of my system before the next major.
And who was that? Who gets the red flag for that one?
Nick Taylor this time.
So he missed by. All right. So yeah, Nick Taylor finished at 1 under. Missed a 6'4" birdie putt on 18. Parred the last 7 holes. Yeah, just couldn't get to. There were some guys that were kind of on that cut line there throughout Friday. Stallings was a guy that I had a little bit of exposure to. He made 4 straight birdies on the front to get above the cut line for a time, and then he also missed a 5-foot 10-inch putt on 18 to miss the cut by 1 stroke. So just quite a few of those guys that were on that cut line last week and ended up changing the 6 of 6 percentage a good bit. So I was really excited through the first couple of days for our Scott Brown call, your Scott Brown call on the show last week. I played a little bit of him, and yeah, he was in the lead there first day for a while.
Yeah, I almost sent you a message, and I knew I would curse him immediately when he was in tied for first, like after the second hole on Saturday. So glad I didn't send that. Then the curse. Maybe it was just me thinking of him started the curse. But
that was enough. That was enough to send him down the leaderboard. But still, he made the cut. A few other guys that Answer and Mark Hubbard that were pretty popular last week just kind of finished with the middling 40th-ish. 40th, 50th place finishes. As far as the top of your leaderboard, really the only guys that had a lot of ownership were Rahm, obviously. Finau ended up T2 with a really good Sunday, 8 under par. Aaron Wise made a Sunday run as well to get inside the top 10. and Alex Smalley, who we've talked about a lot on this show, including last week, with a top 10 as well. So nice to see a few of those guys pay off. But what were some other takeaways you had from last week?
Shot tracker was a nice surprise. Waking up Thursday and seeing, your guys on the course, that was nice. No other main takeaways. I was kind of out of it, so I didn't watch any of the golf. Did you see the course? And I liked that the winning score was 17 under.
Yeah, it was nice. It was easy on the eyes. A nice mix of holes. Obviously, you had the seventh hole, which was most days it was around 280, 290. 300 yards was drivable. You had a lot of guys put it within 20 or 25 feet there for eagle. So that seventh hole was an easier hole. A couple of the par fives played pretty easy. But then you had some danger lurking as well, with lots of bunkers and some water to put kind of that double bogey in the back of golfers' minds on a lot of holes. So I thought it was a really nice course, and would be a pretty good venue to host down the road. Along with that that one that hosted last year, that was maybe in Connecticut. Now I can't think of the one that everybody likes so much.
The one that played like a links course.
No, I can't remember. I just remember that there was a ton of birdies and there was a ton of bogeys, and everybody loved the course. And hopefully somebody in the YouTube chat or in the Discord will know it. But
was that the one Higo won?
Let's see what event he won and see if that was it. The Palmetto Championship. All right, now that sounds right. Congaree was the course. There we go. Teamwork. Put it all together.
Yeah.
I did not remember that Higo won the tournament, so good memory there. But yeah, Congaree was the course. I didn't like it quite as much as that course, but yeah, it was nice. It was a really interesting venue to host a PGA Tour event. So Rom, obviously happy to have the win under his belt in a weak field tournament. No surprise at all, but nice to see we had guys make a run. Kitayama made a run on Sunday. I was kind of rooting for him, not for DFS purposes, but he ended up inside the top 5 as well. Davis Riley. So some fresh faces on the PGA Tour making an impact last week. Anything else for you before we move on to this week's tournament?
Not really. Always good to see Patrick Rogers play well, though. Didn't have much of him, but hey, top 10 for him is pretty good.
Yeah, it's nice result for him after a pretty dry run of form. So, all right. Well, that's about going to do it for the Mexico Open. We'll go ahead and move on forward. We've got the Wells Fargo Championship this week. This tournament is usually held at Quail Hollow, but Quail Hollow is preparing to host the President's Cup, so it is not available to host this event this year. So TPC Potomac at Avenel Farm will step in as the host course, which it seems like this course has been used for that purpose, a few times in the past. 2017, 2018, it hosted the Quicken Loans National. That's the last time it's been used for a full field PGA Tour event. So if you're looking for some data on the course, don't look at the tournament history for this week because it is irrelevant. The 2017 and 2018 Quicken Loans are the tournaments, the most recent tournaments that you could look at. So what do you know about the course, and what type of golfers we need to look for this week?
Yeah, so it's a par 70, measures 7,160 yards. They did lengthen it a little bit from the last time that we saw it. So pretty long par 70. One of the par 5s is well over 600 yards, so it's only going to be reachable by maybe, a couple golfers in the field. And then the other par 5 is pretty long as well. Three of the four par 3s are long. A bunch of the par 4s are over 450 yards. So I'm expecting a lot of long iron play. And if you look at the past winners, Molinari and Kyle Stanley, two of the things that they do the best are, hitting fairways and, long iron play. So I think you're kind of looking for ball strikers. The course can't be overpowered off the tee, so don't really need to look at distance this week. The fairways are, kind of wide on average, but you definitely want to hit them. So I think accuracy is more important than distance, but again, just looking at total driving, looking at strokes made off the tee is probably your best bet there. The greens themselves, very small, 4,300 square feet on average, which is going to bring, around the green into play a little bit. They feature bent grass if you want to look at putting splits. And then the winning score, It was 21 under the year Molinari won, but he won by 8 strokes. So don't put too much stock into that. The other year was -7. Played in the top 20 in difficulty both years on tour. So I'm thinking pretty tough test, which I kind of like to see.
Sorry, muted myself there. What I took from that is that we can just play the worst putters in the field. That's the way.
Molinari and Stanley, yeah.
Doesn't get much worse of a putting combo than that. But all kidding aside, yeah, does profile as a second shot golf course, tee to green golf course. Plenty of trouble lurking, so another course that'll yield some birdies, but also will yield some big numbers. So bogey avoidance if you want to look at that. But again, with the course history just being almost irrelevant, you're going to see even more people look at current form. Maybe some people won't realize that it's on a different course and they'll play, Webb Simpson or somebody. But does it do anything to you as far as your lineup building with this tournament, being on a course that we haven't seen for 4 years?
No, I don't think so. You?
No, I mean, it's just a matter of, the ownership is probably going to be spread out maybe a little bit more this week especially that we saw last week with Rahm being like 50% owned. I don't think any of the top guys will get there this week, but you'll get some, people playing the game theory and, well, I'm going to fade this 20% owned guy. And I think that the ownership will end up spreading out a little bit more this week. So I guess in a roundabout sense, then that means you can play whoever you want. But we'll go ahead and dig in and see what conclusions we can come to in each pricing tier, as we usually do. So we'll go ahead and start at the top, and it's not the same that we saw last week with Rahm, who closed at like plus 350 in terms of odds, but it is another clear-cut golfer at the top, and that's Rory McIlroy, who's priced at 11.5 on DraftKings this week. So is Rory in the same boat as Rahm for you this week as what Rahm was last week, or is it not kind of that case for you?
It's not exactly that case for me. I don't know. It just kind of felt like, Rahm was going out of his way to go to that tournament to get a win under his belt. The field was a little bit weaker. I think I heard that it was the weakest full field event of the season so far. There wasn't an alternate event. So it's not exactly the same, but I still think Rory's, hands down the best golfer in the field. He leads everyone in my model by 8 percentage points in terms of, rating out the best. So I like him. He obviously loves the Wells Fargo Championship. Typically it's at Quail Hollow. I don't think there's any crossover there, but maybe just got some good juju going with the Wells Fargo. And then obviously the last time we saw him, he was second at the Masters, where he kind of conquered some Sunday demons. So he's got to be in a good spot. I'm not going 60% like I did Rahm, but I do think, he'll be pretty heavily owned by me.
Yeah, and we've got his ownership in the low 20s right now. Again, it's very early, but thanks to Trey for getting that ownership up here by 8 o'clock on Monday evening, just to have a first pass for us to look at. So right now we've got Rory in the low 20s, but he certainly won't get up to the levels where Rahm was last week. The other 10K golfers, we've got a lot of the guys that played last week. We've got Finau making the trip again this week. Answer making the trip this week. Any yay or nay, positive or negative impact on those guys after playing and making the cut last week? Finau making a run on Sunday, and then, from Mexico up to Maryland. I mean, that's not a short trip. So nervous about the guys that played last week, particularly here at the top, or do you like Finau or Answer?
Not too nervous, just because, Finau's been playing so bad forever that he's probably got to be feeling pretty good about his game. He led the field in tee to green last week. I do worry about Answer, though. He just hasn't been very good. Hasn't shown much upside. We kind of thought, he'd get up for the event last week, and just didn't look great. The irons haven't been very good, so I'll probably be fading Answer. I like Finau, but again, at that price, just give me $900 more for Rory, or I'll save a little bit and go down to Connors and Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Connors makes the most sense, I think, in here. If it's going to be a ball striking event, then obviously you want Connors in a ball striking event. And he's also been putting it a little bit better of late. So Connors is the guy here in the lower 10Ks. I think that I am interested in. Don't mind Fitzpatrick either. That 10K price tag is going to scare a few people away, but again, if it's a tee to green competition, Fitzpatrick usually fares pretty well in those. So, all right, let's go ahead and move into the 9Ks. We've got Hatton, Leishman, Keegan Bradley, Russell Henley, Gary Woodland, and Patrick Reed in this mix. And obviously, we all kind of laughed about Patrick Reed's stats last week, and I thought he was going to make us pay. He was there in the mix after the first couple days. But he shot 70-75 on the weekend and fell all the way down to 42nd place, +4 on Sunday, which played the easiest of any of the 4 days. So Patrick Reed did not rediscover that form for the week as a whole. Shot that 75 on Sunday and actually did that while gaining strokes on the greens. So the tee to green stuff on Sunday, those numbers were really bad for Patrick Reed. So he did not make us eat crow when it was all said and done. But 9K range is, this is a weaker field event again. So, I mean, these guys, they feel a little overpriced. It's not as extreme as what we saw last week, but they're just, 9,600 for Keegan Bradley. There's definitely not a discount in there. And yet right now we have him as the highest projected owned of the 9K options. So, that's just, it's interesting. And again, the ownership's going to spread out a little bit, but I don't mind if you have a strong stance on one of these guys being underweight. I think Henley is my favorite at 9,300. Just feels like the type of event where if his short game cooperates, I think he'll play well, and he grades out fairly well in our projections too. So your thoughts on the 9Ks?
Yeah, not going to be playing any Patrick Reed. Like you mentioned, struggled again with the ball striking last week. And now his wife, Use Golf Facts, is out there attacking Tiger Woods on Twitter. So, none of the Reed family for me. Can't be doing that. I do like the Henley call. He's probably my favorite as well. 9,300 is a good price point. You think of a guy that doesn't make mistakes. I mean, fairways, irons, pretty good around the green and putter too. Love Henley. I like Gary Woodland. If you take out his Masters, he's been pretty solid all year. Coming off of a 224 last week with the good ball striking numbers. Both of those guys played here in one of the other 2 events and made the cut. So I like that. I don't know what to do with Hatton, Leishman, and Keegan. If Keegan's going to be the most popular, I don't think I can, load up on him. But, Leishman coming off of some good form, and he's got 2 top 15s here. So I think he's interesting as well.
Is that 2 top 15s at this course or this event?
Yeah, this course.
Okay, so that's in 17 and 18, top 15?
Yeah, so any course history I mentioned will be
from the 2017, 2018 Quicken Loans.
Right.
Worth noting, especially for those who might have missed the beginning. New course for this tournament this year. This course was used in 2017 and 2018 for a different event, the Quicken Loans National. So if you want to reference course history, that's the event you need to look at, not this event for any of the recent years, with Quail Hollow hosting the President's Cup coming up. So, all right, like the Leishman call, I think Leishman and Henley are my favorites there. Will probably be underweight on the others. Definitely no Reed for me either. I stand with Noto. You can't attack Tiger like that. That's the reason. That's definitely the reason.
He's getting a practice round in with their pro, and she's complaining. Has that never happened before?
I just incredulous that this would happen. And a couple of golfers actually replied and said, if you take the time, anybody will do this. I think Wesley Bryan said somebody, course superintendent from somewhere took him around the course before he played there, and all he had to do was ask. So, I mean,
Tiger's won there. I think he
I think he's probably good regardless. Yes. But sometimes you get a few perks just by being nice. Try that sometime. Not you, Noto, but Patrick Reed and his wife should try that sometime. So, all right, let's move into the 8K range. Well, Paul Casey, let's give Paul Casey his own discussion. He burned me at the Masters. We don't know how healthy he is, but he was like 20% owned every week, particularly in this field at this price. If there were no injury concerns, Paul Casey would probably be the highest owned golfer in the field. But there are injury concerns. We haven't really seen him in 2 months, and we don't really know where he's at. So, what are you doing with Casey?
I mean, last time when we did the master show, I said, keep an eye on the interviews and the quotes from Casey. And as long as there isn't anything glaring, then we can play him with confidence because he's not going to withdraw from a major. He played in the par 3 and then withdraws the next day. So I don't know. I don't think you can play him in your main lineups like I did at the Masters. I'm not going to be doing that again. But with like no injury factored in, he's number 2 in my model right now. So it just screams value. I'm sure I'll be overweight in MME, but it doesn't feel good. Maybe he'll repay all of us that that he burned at the Masters.
He's got a lot of scoring to do if he wants to do that. It was a rough Masters when he pulled out, and then Oosthuizen got hurt, and then he pulled out, and
yeah,
the memories are flooding back. But if he's going to be single digit owned in GPPs, might as well take some shots in this field. I like it. So interesting names there, like some veterans. Garcia, I think if he can keep the ball in play off the tee, sets up as a course where maybe he could play well. Max Homa at 8,600, I think would be a good fit too. So then when you get to the lower part of the 8K range, it does dip off a little bit. So I like Casey, Garcia, and Homa in GPPs. Not a ton in the lower part of the 8K range. But what do you think about the rest of this group?
Yeah, I like the Homa call. Sergio is interesting in that he's been so bad with the irons and really good with the putter. So the results look fine. So if the putter stays hot and the irons turn around, which, is kind of his long-term strength, then I think he's interesting for sure. I like Seamus Power a little bit at 8,300, just continues to grind out some good finishes. And then I'll go back to Webb Simpson. I'm a sucker for him. Anytime we get him on par 70 courses, I know the form hasn't been good. The ball striking hasn't been very good, but yeah, short, difficult courses is kind of his specialty. So, and I looked at the 4 comps that Data Golf, kind of recommended as, comparable courses, and he's second best in the field at those as well. So yeah, give me some Webb this week.
All right, so Webb can succeed no matter what course this tournament's held at. He's got the game to make it travel here. So we've got him at 10% ownership right now. Cameron Young at 8K is a guy that I think, given the form that he showed in the spring, the earlier part of the spring, maybe we'll see a little bit of a bounce back performance here from him. So I don't mind Cameron Young at 8,000. Right now, we've got him carrying a little ownership in that kind of 16 to 18% range. But again, I just think it'll spread out once you get past that top tier. So Cam Young at 8K is my other pick in the lower part of that range. And like you, I'm a sucker for Webb, so I'll probably play a little bit of him as well. You've been a sucker for Jason Day in the past too. Is that ship sailed though?
I mean, I was happy to see him in Scrivener at the top of the leaderboard at one point at the team tournament, but I like Day on long courses where, he can be a little wild off the tee. I just don't think this is his cup of tea.
I am out on him as well. All right, let's go ahead and move into the 7Ks. It's starting at 7,900. We've got Aaron Ryan, Matt Kuchar there. A couple guys who have sprinkled a little bit of form lately in some tournaments. Doug Gim, my boy, at 7,800. But your thoughts on the upper part of the 7K range?
Well, good news. The model is back on Brian Harman, so we can play him with confidence now. He's gained off the tee in 6 straight. We know the short game's pretty good. The irons have just been so hit or miss. So get him on a good week with the irons. I like the upside for Harman. And Matt Kuchar coming off of 16th, 2nd, and 3rd. So he's had some resurgence of form recently. I like that at 7,900. Another guy that I typically like a lot more on par 70s than I do, on the longer par 72s. Johnny Vegas is a guy that always rates out well for me. Very good ball striker, a lead off the tee, getting a lot better with his irons. So those would probably be my three above 7,500. But Neesmith's very good with his long irons. Joe Dahman is a guy that's very good with the ball striking. Lonzo Griffin finally showed some life last week. He had one of the low rounds on Sunday. So he's a big talent for a cheap price point, finally, playing a little bit better. So I like him as well.
Yeah, it was nice to see that round from Griffin on Sunday. I played a little bit of him as well. So he moved up 30 spots on the leaderboard on Sunday with the 65. So he shot 6 under, bogey free, hit all but 2 greens there on Sunday. So his rounds kind of got better as the week progressed. Really good stats from Sunday. So if you want to buy into that Sunday hot round, keep it moving going forward narrative, then Griffin certainly fits that bill. So he is there at 7,600 and probably not going to be super chalky. Noto mentioned Harmon. So when the model likes Harmon, everybody hop aboard. With these weaker field events, and this is a spot where I think I'm going to hop back aboard Keith Mitchell. I stayed away from him for a while. There was that event a few weeks back where Keith Mitchell suddenly became the chalk because his form was pretty good. The price, I can't remember exactly what his salary was, but I believe that was the Arnold Palmer week where he ended up finishing 61st. But of course, that was the week he was popular, and he didn't do much. But outside of that, 12th at Pebble Beach, 10th at the Waste Management, 9th at the Honda, 13th at the Players. So Keith Mitchell is having a really, really good year, and we haven't seen him in basically 6 weeks. So maybe refreshed and ready to go, and 7,800 salary. So I will be back aboard Keith Mitchell. I'm sure he'll be popular again this week, but certainly not as popular as he would be if he would have had a good finish that 1 week where he was super chalky. So I like Mitchell at 7.8K. Outside of that, I pretty much agree with the guys that you mentioned in that middle part of that range. Anybody else around 7,500 or heading into the bottom part of the 7Ks that catches your eye?
Did you give your take on Doug Game yet?
I didn't. I don't really know if I've got one. I will probably play him at that price. He made the cut last week, 33rd. Probably not value, so to speak, for what his elevated salary was last week, but now he's back down to 7,800. I'll probably play some Gim.
Yeah, I think I just never know what his upside is, but if this is a course where bad putters can succeed, here comes Gim.
Yeah, he definitely fits the bill.
Other guys, I like
Stanley, Molinari, Gim.
Perfect
trio.
I like CT Pan a little bit at 7,500. He's been playing some consistent golf, kind of like Doug Gim, except he's better around the greens and just struggles with the putter. So if you can find a hot putter, he's interesting. And then, yeah, I mean, in the lower range, there's some interesting guys. Russell Knox, he had been popular the last few events, and he's really been struggling. So maybe this is the time to hop back on him. Then you got the opposite of Knox and Denny McCarthy, who's just a putting wizard. I think he's interesting. Still's been playing a little bit better recently. What about Francesco Molinari, the defending champ, technically?
Defending champ from 4 years ago where he dusted the field by 8. I mean, he kind of sucked people back in again with some decent results. And then he shot plus 10 in 2 rounds at the Valspar and plus 8 at the Masters. That is concerning. His last 4 competitive rounds, 76, 76, 78, 74. I think I'm out.
You want to know who's third in proximity from 175 to 225 this year?
Are you going to tell me it's Molinari now?
Ricky Fowler.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not playing him either.
And 2 top 12s at this event.
Yeah, but that was, I mean, that was like Ricky 1.0. No, we're on like Ricky 6 at this point. Like the prototype is broken.
I thought I could get you.
No, I would not. You could have given me 50 guesses and I wouldn't have pulled Fowler. I didn't think that's where you were headed with that one. So, no, I would rather play Schwab. I'd play Kitayama coming off a good week. I'd play Luke List. I'd play Hubbard again. I'd play Laird. I'd probably play about 4 or 5 other guys in the lower 7Ks before I played Fowler. I'd probably play Steele. I'd go back to Knox, the Smalley's in there, like all those guys before Richard Fowler. He's underneath them all.
All right.
You're not, right? You're finally past this, right?
I mean, I say that on Monday, and then I just hear like one little snippet of him playing well in the practice round, and I'm back in.
In order to save your bankroll, he's got to come out and say something bad about Tiger, and then you'll be all set. All right, no Ricky for me. All kidding aside, I do like some of those names that I mentioned. Certainly not going to go. Smalley's price just doesn't really move, and he finally played well last week with that T6. So I like him. I like Schwab a little bit. Our projection model, I think, grades Schwab out pretty well. That being our internal projection model that Chris Jamino's been working on. I don't have your data in front of me yet, but what does the nodal model think of Schwab? Or do you not have it ready
Let's see. What price is he? Oh, right there.
He is 72.
Yeah, he's one of the better values. Also likes Glover, Luke List, like you mentioned. Laird and Hubbard both kind of rating out well too. So yeah, a lot of similar names. I like Smalley. Worth it going back there after the top 5 last week. That's pretty much it in the 7Ks, I think.
He's not an option this week, but just because I saw his name and we've obviously got some time. But you think Matthew Wolff will ever get back there again, or is he like the new Smiley Kaufman?
Oh man, I don't think he's Smiley level bad, but like last year towards the end of the fall, I want to say he strung together like 3 top 25s in a row. So I think he's still live to come back. I don't think he's going to be as good as he was, but yeah, somebody said Ricky or Wolff moving forward. Who you got on Twitter? I can't remember.
I mean, Wolff's younger, so he's got the time, but like you look at Wolff, 64th miscut, 61st miscut his last 5 events, 281s in there as well.
Yeah, he has so many blow up holes. He's a guy that was like made very little mistakes when he was good. So it's kind of weird just seeing him, blow up so many holes. But I'm rooting for him to come back. He's obviously talked about some mental issues and dealing with those. So hopefully we can see him back soon.
Yeah, rooting for him for sure. All right, let's move into the final range, the 6Ks. If you built your lineups like right away when pricing came out, make sure you don't have Pat Perez in your lineups. He has withdrawn. I think there was two names that withdrew. Is Johnny Vegas out?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think so. He's got the out tag next to him I was scrolling through on DraftKings just to make sure, and they've got Perez out, but Johnny Vegas had surgery a month ago, but I don't think he's out. As Davis Riley was the other withdrawal. So Pat Perez and Davis Riley are out, but I don't think Riley even made the pricing.
Right.
On DraftKings. Yeah. So just Perez. And they've still got the out tag next to Johnny Vegas, but I think that's an old one because there are little note says he had arm surgery a month ago. So I believe as of now, he's still in the field for this event, but worth noting with us taping this on Mondays now, sometimes there will be a few more changes. So before we get to the values, did you see the Monday qualifier list?
No, but I heard Lingmerth got in, and then actually, yeah, so I did. I saw Big Panda. So
Norman Zhang, he is back.
That's all. I mean, I'm rooting for him, but yeah, so just play him with Pat or Paul Casey, and then you got a lot of money to light on fire.
There you go. For when Casey withdraws and Zhang implodes, and. All right, I'm feeling a sneeze coming here, so I'm going to mute myself, but you can start talking about some of your favorite punt plays.
Yeah, so let me preface this by saying it's Monday, so we're recording this a day earlier than usual, and I have yet to actually do any deep dive into anybody in the 6K range yet. So right now, the model, the guys that rate out well, Kind of the veterans. You got Cam Percy. He's 2 for 2 at this event, coming off a 4th place finish. I'm not sure where that was. You got Vaughn Taylor, who's been playing a little bit better recently. Henrik Norlander, and then Charlie Hoffman at 6,400. I mean, I can't believe he's 6,400 in this field. I don't think I'm going to play him because he hasn't even made a cut in a couple months. But yeah, those are the names that the model likes. I don't see a lot down here that I really want to force in the lineups.
Yeah, there's enough guys in that lower part of the 7K range. Like again, 4 or 5 of those guys. I think, that's the range where you want to stick. Armor is going to grade out as a pretty safe play for made cut purposes, but he was last week as well, and then he didn't make the weekend. I think he missed on the number by 1 or something like that, but he did have a top 5 finish in one of the 2 2017, 2018 events here. And you mentioned Lingmerth, he was leading the 1 year through the first couple rounds, I believe. So you just never know with these types of fields. But so Armor, I'll probably play a little bit of him. But outside of that, when I was going through the list of punt plays, nothing really stuck out at me either. So probably will round out a lot of lineups with that lower part of the 7K range, because most of the guys down here are guys that have really been struggling. So let's see. Anything else for you?
A little bit of a tease for our premium content. I mean, if we do find somebody that we like down here, we'll throw them in our articles. We'll throw them in our rankings. So we'd love to have you join us with RG Premium.
Yeah, for sure. Sign up Rotogrinders.com. You can get yourself the combo premium package that covers basically every sport except NASCAR. We've got all the USFL and tennis and all those sports covered with the combo package, or you can get just a single sport package if you just want the golf. Or just one other sport, baseball in full swing now. But check us out, rotogrinders.com, and hopefully you like what you see over there if you sign up for the premium. We've got the AT&T Byron Nelson next week, and then the PGA Championship at Southern Hills the week after that. So we'll keep going with the full steam ahead content here on Roto Grinders. And again, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show, but for those of you who might not have caught it, we're going to be doing a Twitter Spaces we did this for the Masters, and it went over really, really well. Had a couple hundred people in on Wednesday evening in the live Twitter Spaces. So I'm not sure yet if we're going to just run that through the Roto Grinders account. If we're going to run it through, mine or Noto's accounts and stream it that way. But either way, be on the lookout for. I'm sure the Roto Grinders account will get it posted on social media all over the place. So on Wednesday evening, we're going to try that. We're going to do it like 2 weeks a month. So we'll obviously do it for the PGA Championship, and then we're going to test it out this week for the Wells Fargo. So we'll do that on Wednesday. Time to be determined, but probably early evening, something like that. So be on the lookout for some social media postings about that to get a little bit of an update on the golf for the week on Wednesday. So with that, we'll go ahead and get out of here. For Noto, I'm Justin. Thanks to our producer, Steve, working hard behind the scenes for us as well. Enjoy your week, everybody. Have fun building those golf lineups, and we'll talk to you later.